this is Angela Moorad at Amazing Kids AAC Consulting. Here's our first look comparison at the new Blue2 FT from AbleNet, and the FT stands for Feather Touch, compared to the older Blue2, and my particular model is a Blue2 4th generation. I've never had any problems with mine. But I have seen and gotten messages from those that have, and I'm sure that's why they came out with a new version. As far as the overall size, they're actually very similar. I'm going to turn this off so I'm not activating it for a while. You can tell though, if I put them bottom to bottom, the older version is slightly longer. It is 164 millimeters long, and the newer one is 160 millimeters long. So a difference of 4 millimeters. The width is 70 on each of them, so that's the same. But you can tell that they look very different from each other. This one's more rectangular, this one's more of an oval. The height on the newest one is 25 millimeters. The height on the older one is 22. So this new one's just a smidge taller. May not make a difference for most users. That's pretty close. I'm going to turn it on. And on here on the back, you can see you have the mode where you can switch what these do. It comes pre-programmed with space and enter. So blue is space, yellow is enter. That's quite handy. And then you can turn on and off the visual feedback. You can turn on and off the auditory feedback. And here's how you turn on and off the switch itself. It has a button here for making the on-screen keyboard appear and disappear, external switch ports for 2 switches, and a Bluetooth pairing. And then the charging port is USB-C. The charger cord that comes with it is USB-C to USB-A. So that's important to know. It didn't come with a charging brick, but most folks in this day and age probably have more than their fair share of USB-A charging bricks. So that wasn't an issue at all for me. And it allowed them to ship this in a much slimmer, eco-friendly package. See this? I thought that the switch itself was going to be much, much smaller. It is very close in size. It's the packaging's much smaller because this older one came with a charging brick, the cord, which was an older style, not USB-C, and then various adapter plugs to use for other countries. I've never used these other 3, so it was nice to not have to deal with those extra pieces anymore. But so this is what you got previously with this. Okay, let me show you another thing. The feedback, how you knew you activated something here, of course, beyond just that something happened on the screen. So you hear that, and there's a certain amount of force, not much, but a certain amount of force that's required to physically activate these. Whereas this new one has proximity sensors built in, and I'm still getting used to them. When I do switch scanning, I tend to hover, anxiously awaiting whenever I need to activate what I want to do. And if you do that here, see, I didn't even touch that. So I had to get used to how close I could be without actually activating it. Now you can, of course, plug in external switches and do away with that altogether. You can also turn off, if you don't like that beeping sound, you can turn that off separately from the light. So you can see there's 3 little lights that come on. 3 little lights that come on. For someone, I had someone a week or 2 ago asking about visual feedback on switches. So that's pretty subtle compared to the Cosmos switch. Whoops, it went to sleep. Let me wake it back up. The Cosmos switch is a very obvious bright. You can't even capture it on the video very well. That's very bright green when it lights up. So this is much more obvious. It's also a much bigger activation area. So just wanted to point out that difference. As far as the diameter of these, that's a 65 millimeter activation area across. This square, as far as the dimensions that way and that way, is 70 millimeters by 70 millimeters. So the older version did have just a slightly larger activation area. If you've ever used a Praetorian iSwitch, that's got a little larger activation area, as you can see, side by side. It also has a slope. So the activation here at the front is much lower than the back of it. So that is your first look at the new AbleNet Blue2 FT.